So, I have been writing poetry since I was 11, and I used to have like a vast amount of inspiration because I usually always had a crush to write about, and somehow it just worked out. What is this? Sorry, I'm very, what's the word? Just notice things. Okay, so let's see. I think I reached my peak when I was in college. The college libraries have a lot of books, and I ended up, I also took writing workshops, and the professors would talk about literature poets that, their poems were good, but like these are the type of poets where people study them. Like you can take the poem apart and discover its many layers, and they usually end up coming to one single meaning, but I find that those type of poems tend to have multiple meanings for different people, for each reader. And I think that's the mark of a good poet, is to be able to appeal to a lot of people. Anyway, so I reached my peak in college, and I was also experiencing my first heartbreak during that time, and so poems galore. There's someone at the window, not at the window, but okay. And so I graduated college, and then the person with whom I experienced this emotion, like we parted ways. And so I'm just super distracted today. Okay, and so I had to find another method, and that didn't work out. So I stopped writing poems because I felt like I didn't really have much to go off on, except for the bitterness that I felt about what had occurred. And I didn't feel like my poems were that good during that point. And then the pandemic happened, and I was in a place where I was discovering new emotions, because for the first time in my life I was experiencing my survival instincts. I was experiencing uncertainty in a way that I hadn't before. And so then things that didn't matter before mattered, and also things that I didn't think were possible suddenly felt within grasp. And that led way to a new way to navigate my poems. And then I also started to write poems about being in love. And it's weird because, so the way that this kind of just came, because I feel like they came to me, I really I made them. I made the poems, but the poems were wanting to exist one way or another, and I was simply the vessel through which they came into existence. So what I ended up doing, like my method to write these poems, was to enter a state of mind in which I was in love. Like created I created um I created God damn. I created a person, I guess you could say. They may or may not be an actual real person, but I created a person, and like kind of like, I guess, like a Sims character perhaps. No, I don't know. I don't play Sims. Um like an avatar, like, it's the person, and then I just imagined, oh well, what would this person be like if they were like this, if they said this or that, or like, I started to think, what would my ideal lover be like? And then it just kind of went from there, and then I created scenarios in my head with said character, and that's how the poems came into existence. For the most part, a lot of those poems had a lot of water in them, and for any of my tarot people, or I don't know, just people that look into the symbolism of stuff, water is all about emotions. So there's a lot of water imagery in my poems, and then also a lot of space stuff, because I'm so passionate about space. Like, it's like a drug to me, learning about space and reading about it and talking about it. It's a very exhilarating feeling, and so my poems had a lot of that. And I don't know, like, they just kind of like blasted off into whatever they wanted to be. And then some shit went down in my personal life, and that affected my desire to spend time working on my creative projects. And then I no longer had I had nothing to tap into, which is not true. I just didn't want to tap into it anymore. I kind of felt like it was the same old, and I was looking for something. I was looking for the next level, I guess you could say. That, I guess, tapping into my scenarios was no longer enough to inspire me. And so then I stopped. And then, as time went on, things began to change, as life does, because that's life. And suddenly, like, I guess I felt that it was time to go back into all of that, and I don't know, find my niche again. But I'm still having a hard time writing poems. I have a blog, and I'll occasionally write some stuff there. Like, there is no theme to it. It's just whatever I want to write, whatever I feel like, whatever I feel needs to be recorded in some way. So that's where I'm at now. And so every day I just kind of find some time to sit down with some paper and a pen to see if anything happens. Unfortunately, not a lot has happened. I don't really have much, but I used to do, like, I would record myself reading my poems. I posted one here, and someone had asked me if I was gonna do that again, and I told them no, because I just wasn't feeling it. But my hope is, and I guess that's always been like my dream, I guess, is to publish my poems. And the thing is like, I'll get started and I'll say, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna get a notebook, and I'm just gonna fill it with poems and edit them and figure it out. And it just never happens. It never happens, and I don't really understand why. My doctor said it could be ADHD, but I need to get tested, and I haven't done that. Because they were like, well, the point of getting tested is to put you on meds if it is true. Like, if that is the diagnosis, then the next step would be meds. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to do meds. But perhaps maybe that is the next step. I don't know. I personally feel, as a person who has taken meds for mental health before, I feel like the medicine, I don't even want to call it medicine because it didn't feel like medicine. The prescriptions, they numbed me. They numbed me to the point where the daily routines of life were doable, but the spark that made me me was gone. And I didn't like that. So I guess the sacrifice here is that if I want to maintain my creativity, I have to navigate through the murkiness and the intensity of this, which I feel like I've been doing pretty good so far, except for the tapping into my creativity again. I don't know, maybe I just need to go have some experiences, life experiences. I don't know why I'm sharing this. A part of me feels like it serves a purpose of sorts. Maybe not. But yeah. So I'm gonna get back to this. I don't know if I'm gonna write anything. So far, I've written a sentence and some scribbles.